Hello all you wonderful people. I am getting ready to head out to fish, and I have a legitimate question that I'm just trying to figure out what to do. I live in Kentucky, and obviously we do get some cold winters. I have a brand new Mercury 4-stroke. It's 25 horsepower, and I have, so far from what I can figure, about 7.5 hours. One of the downsides to a Tracker Panfish 17, there's no gauges, so I really don't know how many hours I have. What I'm doing is I'm keeping just a little, basically a boating journal on how many hours I've gone, and from what I can figure, about 7.5, so not quite the 10-hour break-in period. But here's my question. I've called the boat dealership, and they are very nonchalant about winterizing. He said basically, as long as I'm running a stabilizer, which I am, I use, this is Startron enzyme, what is it, fuel treatment. So this is something they sold at the dealership, and I use that every time I put gas in. In fact, I put a little bit extra in this time as I run it, to hopefully it'll get through this fuel system. And basically he said, as long as I store my motor straight down with no tilt to it, I don't have to worry about any kind of winterizing this winter. So my question for you seasoned boat owners, does anyone else do that? Do you basically store your engine just in the straight down position and just running fuel stabilizer through it for the winter? Now granted, I'm not in, Michigan or other super cold areas. I plan on running this boat hopefully through the end of December into January, at least, a couple, 3 times a month. And he said as long as it's not sitting for any length of period, which he said more than 3 months, I don't need to worry about it. So I'm a little worried. I want to make sure, I've read the manual, and it just says basically follow winterization procedures. But everything I've seen on YouTube or online has been, you need to fog the engine, you need to change the oil, you need to do all this type of maintenance stuff. And he's basically told me not to worry about it, it's fine, and they don't recommend doing any of that. And the other question I have revolves around batteries in winter. So what I have in mind, I've installed, it's the Minn Kota Precision 318. You can see there, and I'll turn it directly. So it's the Minn Kota Precision 318. It's a smart charger, so basically once the batteries are charged, it takes it down to a trickle charge and keeps them charged. And I asked him about that, and he said, well, he said, really, as long as the batteries are staying charged, I shouldn't have to worry too much about it. He didn't necessarily recommend me taking the batteries out of the boat. In fact, he said, if it's going to be sitting for a while, you can unplug the charger, then plug it back in, say several days before you're going, to make sure the batteries are fully charged. From what I can tell online, again, living in Kentucky, we'll have some evenings or we'll have some nights that'll go down into the 20s, sometimes even the teens, but typically not for extended periods of time. So that's my other question. What about my batteries? Do I need to take them in and out? Like I said, I'll plan on running this boat at least until usually January. You can get on the water, and then February seems to be our coldest month, where everything kind of ices up, and you got to wait till March for the thaw and then the spring to start fishing. So if anyone has experience doing this, and I'll probably get a bunch of snarky comments, and that's fine, but I just am trying to figure out, number one, is there truly something I need to do to winterize my motor other than just run stabilizer and store it in the basically, I guess, the vertical position so all the water can run out? And number two, my batteries, is there something with batteries I need to be concerned about? I have 3, they're just the lead acid batteries, and my plan was just to keep them on trickle charge. I do have a cover on my boat. Oh, that's the other thing, I asked him about a cover, and he really said, you can if you want to, but it's not necessarily for the engine. I mean, a cover for the engine. So the boat will be covered, but I'm just trying to figure out now about my batteries and my motor. So anybody that has experience doing this and basically storing the engine, or using your boat through the winter and then storing it, basically just in the vertical position with fuel stabilizer, in more, not really temperate climate, but coldish climate. And then the batteries, what do you do with batteries? So I appreciate all the insight and input, and thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.